Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. No doubt you've been following the news very, very closely since Friday when we were last together. And indeed, I was speaking with our Joke Adisa earlier, just before coming on air, and she was telling me that the meetings lasted right up until the wee hours of the morning, something like after 3 or thereabouts. Indeed, as you know by now, the strike has been averted for the next 2 weeks. A technical committee has been set up to be headed up by the Minister of State for Labor, Festus Keyamo, SAN. In fact, we have Joke Adisa standing by live. Hello again, Joke. I don't know why they want to dog that report out, but a fine morning to you. So here we are. It's a totally different story from what that report was showing.
Exactly. You recall that was early Sunday morning that the speaker had to intervene and invited organized labor for a meeting. Eventually, they could not reach a compromise. What the speaker wanted was a commitment from the labor leaders that the strike will not go on. So he pleaded and pleaded, but the labor leaders said they did not have the mandate of their people, particularly when government has not put anything on the table for them. And so eventually they had to adjourn that meeting, say not die. But going from there, you will recall that what was supposed to happen, the meeting I held late yesterday, was supposed to be it was supposed to be for today. And that would most likely have been after the organized labor will have run through the national protest and nationwide strike, as they have said. But I think the government was very, very proactive with that. They saw that if they allowed that to happen, it could jeopardize all the efforts they have made. You know that in the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 different meetings, 3 crucial meetings between both parties, and it was just the third one that we're able to finalize and put their industrial action on hold. So that report came basically because from what we have seen from as early as this morning by 3 a.m. when they signed that communique, Labour made it clear that they've been able to make some concessions because the issue of deregulation, when the government opened its books to them, said their hands were tied, and so they had to let go of that, but they insisted that the electricity tariff must be suspended, and that they will now look into it deeply to ensure that Nigerians are not shortchanged. So that's what what happened, and I'm sure a number of Nigerians will be relieved because you will see that coming out of a lockdown and going again into a national strike.
Yeah, it wasn't the
best. Definitely grind the economy and all that. So by and large, I think it's a matter of give and take. The NLC has been able to concede regulation, and the government too has put for this latest hike that is causing this agitation on hold for 2 weeks, as they have said. So, but one good thing about the whole agreement is that Labour was also able to make it clear to government that in the event that any of these agreements is breached, they will not give notice. They will no longer issue any notice before they pick up their suspended action. So we are hoping that both sides will have cause to enjoy this agreement so that Nigerians can be rest assured that there won't be shutdown in the economy and there won't be shutdown in their sources of livelihood.
Indeed. And the offshoot of all of this is that they have signed, they have agreed to set up a technical committee that comprises, as the document itself says that has been released, ministries, departments, agencies, NLC, and TUC, which will work for a duration of 2 weeks, effective from today, Monday the 28th, to examine these issues again. We had labor leaders in the studio here, and one of their observations, if not complaints, was that labor was not carried along. So it looks like labor has managed to rest, as it were, that participation, because now just about everybody is involved in it, as is well known by now. Festus Keyamo SAN is heading it up, and all the other top government functionaries. Now, in the case of the fuel price increase, and in fact both of them, it's like to look at the justification of government, which you would have thought would have been done before all of this, but now they're going to be looking at the justification of government and see maybe if Labour agrees, in which case everything is hunky-dory. But if Labour, for whatever reason, is not persuaded, then the word suspension will probably all come into fore again, in the sense that it was suspended, it was not cancelled.
Exactly, it was not called off. The TUC president stated it categorically that the strike was only suspended and not called off. So what that means is that if the government fails to implement any part of that agreement, they will not issue any notice before kicking off the action they have suspended. But let me speak briefly on what the analysis you have given now. Labour, as at the last meeting, especially during the privatization process that was carried out 7 years ago, part of the agreement then with Labour was that Labour should be part of the NARC, so that whatever decisions are being taken, Labour will also be part of it. But that was not. And one other thing that was also absent, and the Speaker did allude to that, was the fact that agreement has been reached that before any increment will come onto the tariff, electricity tariff, all homes must be metered. And that was where we talked about 6 million meters that they spoke about. So even that was not done. And so NLC said they just woke up one morning and saw that this has been done. And so they said, no, they just have to protest. They just have to kick so that they do not lay a very bad precedent. So that is what we have seen. Luckily, they've been able to force the government this time around to put what happens after 2 weeks. Are we saying these prices, these prices would be come up again, or they will stay as it's? That for me is still a missing point.
Okay.
Because after 2 weeks, yes, the committee is supposed to go around, discuss with the various discos, look at their template, look at their bandwidth and all that, and be able to come up with what the lacuna there is. What happens after that 2 weeks? Is government saying that the new price regime will automatically come up after 2 weeks, or it will go back to its old price, or there will be a new price entirely? I think that is an area that we need Labour leaders and even the government to expatiate upon.
Well, indeed, and that's probably why the way they phrased it, and I'm reading directly from the document here, to examine the justification for the new policy on costs, and then in relation to what you were speaking about earlier, the NARC Act, to actually have Labour as an integral part. Actually, right now, that NARC Act is under review.
Exactly.
And so it's like they're insisting now that this is the time, so that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, as you pointed out. It's
but
long been there.
Don't also forget that even as far as deregulation is concerned, as far as increase in the prices of fuel is concerned, NLC is on the board of PPPRA, and yet these increments are done without Labour's
input or participation.
Involvement. Okay. And so it was one of the issues that the NLC president raised at that meeting, that yes, organized labor, NLC, TUC have representatives on the board of PPPRA, but they do not get to know at what point these prices are increased, and at what percent, and what they're supposed to be done before then. And so that was that. But I think with
Joke, could I interrupt you for a moment, please? Joke, one moment, please. Sorry to interrupt you, because Joshua called in from Irewole in Ogun State. Good morning, sir, and thank you very much, Mr. Joshua, for holding on.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to your correspondent.
Good morning.
Happy that we have the strike suspended, but I would appeal to labor leaders that they should call off this strike. They should call it off completely. We Nigerians, we appreciate the fact that, okay, people are suffering. The fact that we are suffering is known to everyone. Nigeria is said to be the poverty capital of the world. But we are appealing to labor people. Strike has never solved any problem over this fuel or tariff hike or whatever it is. Let them engage with the government. The way they are talking now shows that they have been cut off from engaging with government over time because they said they were taken by surprise over the twin hike. You know, why would you be taken by surprise? You are an organized labor. You are a body that is involved in government. We need to appeal to them.
Okay.
They should not be using the fact that, okay, generality of Nigerians are angry with government and then use an opportunity to shut down the nation. It will worsen the problem.
All right.
Engage with government and make sure that we have workable solution to this matter once and for all.
All right.
Let subsidy go. Uncle Yori, let it go. It's a corrupt reading system.
Indeed.
Let it go.
Okay.
And let us face the matter once and for all.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Joshua. Joke, the technical subcommittee that has been set up according to the document that has been released has 2 weeks. I wonder if that's going to be enough. They have 2 weeks to report, and during the 2 weeks, it says here that DISCOs shall suspend the application of the cost-reflective electricity tariff adjustment. That is all fine and good. But the issue is, the meeting is also to resolve the following issues of concern to labor, and they should be treated as stand-alone, in quotes, stand-alone items. These are the 40% stake of government in the DISCOs and the stake of workers to be reflected in the composition of the DISCOs boards. Would you like to comment on that, Joke?
Yes. If you look at the way they crafted the entire the points in the communique, you will see that even lawyers were involved, and so they were very careful. If you look at now, there is a technical subcommittee, as you have said,
yes,
which is ready to bring in its report in 2 weeks. But what that means is that now it's easy. Government has directed now that DISCOs put on hold this new electricity, this reflective. Yes, the cost reflected electricity tariff. There should this latest adjustment. But how well these DISCOs will comply with that directive is one thing on the other. But that aspect that speaks about the meeting resolving that labor should there are the 40% stake of government in the DISCO and the stake of workers to be reflected in the composition of DISCO's boards. It's clear that is one of the issues that have been in contention all this while. Labor says that they generate this wealth. They are the ones that are most affected. Homes that are being built are workers. And so let us have representatives.
Okay.
We have discourse that we have seen homes that you see they give particularly when it comes to coming up with a prepaid meters and all that, estimated billing to be specific now. Now you see them come with today they give you 5,000 naira. Next tomorrow they give you. Next month
it's very unsatisfactory. One moment,
so
Joke. Joke, another caller has come in. Mr. Garba from Benue State. Good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning
to your correspondent over there.
Good morning.
You see, Uncle Yori, to be honest, this is my honest opinion, and I will say it, and I believe that millions of Nigerian masses will align their thought with me. I didn't trust labor. And as well, I didn't trust the government. And I want the government to do one favor for me. Civil society organizations should represent us. Labor should step aside. Let civil society organizations in each state or in each local government of Nigeria, they should come along and engage government so that they will hear the suffering of Nigerians, average Nigerians on the street. Labor, they are just after their own interests. I believe that 60 to 70% of Nigerians are not working for government. They are business or farmers or doing minor businesses. So let's get business organizations and civil society organizations, engage government and tell the Nigerian government what they feel. I'm totally in support of deregulation. Okay. But let the government try and do their best and tell Nigeria how many amount of barrel of crude oil that they're exporting every day, every hour, every second. Let Nigeria know that.
Okay.
If the government cannot do that, definitely the government are not sincere. Secondly, the trillions of naira, Port Authority, NIMASA, NNPC, that they have been stealing there, they should block those nukes all. I'm saying the whole sense of military and the suffering of Nigerians are feeling now. Second, another one, Okuyori, let the federal government, in their own justification, justify why they are trying to regulate the vehicles that they are promising that they will give each state to alleviate transportation. They should first of all act. Let Nigerians see it on ground. Then we know we can justify the regulation and price hike.
Garuba, these exactly are the things that this particular sort of interregnum are all about. To justify or further justify or justify to the understanding of labor why this is the way government feels it has to go. So it's like an exercise of justification. So very much what you're saying, if we're understanding each other.
Okay, sorry, please, let me allude to what you said. I listened to Falana this morning.
Okay.
That man, honest and sincere, said that the government needs to continue engaging the civil society organization. And I believe that someone like Penny Falana should be on the forefront of this kind of movement.
Okay.
Which I believe that is someone that feels the suffering of Nigerian masses as well as in Lagos.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Garuba. Really appreciate your call. Joke, back to you, Joke. They put it in quotes, stand alone, that those items we were talking about in the subcommittee, that it's like Labour and government agreed that the matter of the inclusion in the boards of the discos would be a stand-alone item. This probably means that, what do you understand that to mean?
Yes. What it means is that it should be independent of any other factor.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
We have said this is how we want to go about it. Exactly that. We have said this is how we want to go about it. No other factor should be linked to it. Just let it be on its own.
It won't be linked to whether the strike continues or not.
Its own status, so that there is no misunderstanding about it. It is standing alone. It is on its own, and so it is not dependent on any other factor. So other than the fact that this what we have set it to achieve is what it must achieve. That is what that standalone means. And so it's expected that...
Okay, another call has come in, Joke. 1 second, please. Another call has come in. Who's on the line there? Mr. George, good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Well,
Uncle Yori, I'm going to repeat what I've said before. There is no basis for subsidy removal when the right framework for subsidy working is absent. You are saying you remove subsidy. What is the basis of removing the subsidy in terms of the product supply? We have, there are two issues at stake now. One is electricity, one is petroleum. In the petroleum sector, no refinery is working. We have a private citizen who is constructing a refinery that we are hoping will come on stream very soon. And the government is not doing anything about the 4 refineries that are not working. We are taking crude out of our country to go and refine in another country and sell it to ourselves again. And in the midst, people are shortchanged, and the system, the ordinary man in the street is the one suffering it. This is not a template that can work. The second one is about electricity. The way it is, Uncle Yori, we are only talking about how much is the price of the product that is being circulated. We are not talking about what about the generation. You sold it to people who don't know anything about electricity, and you gave it to them at a giveaway price. And they are coming back to you to say, this is the way we want. They are even refusing to take the one that is generated and sell it to people in a way that is to be cheap for them. They brought out a formula for you to approve for them that a corrupt formula that a unit will cost this in one place, the same unit will cost another in another place, and you are agreeing. What is the template?
Yeah.
We must start from the beginning. The government should first of all review that sale that was made to wrong people. He said that the $16 billion was missing. It was said to have been invested in this sector. We didn't see where it was done. Nothing has been done about that.
Okay. Mr. George, I've got to interrupt you, but thank you very much for calling in. And as you said, this is you've been steadfast to this whole notion about you can't see the sense in removing subsidy without the enabling environment for the said remover. Joke, I want to thank you very much for standing by on the program this morning. Government's bottom line point in any case is that there are no funds. If government could put it in, I don't know how many words that was, there are no funds. 4 words. That seems to be their rationale. There are no more funds. I made it 5. That seems to be the perspective of government. Right? Would you agree with that?
Exactly. That has been the sing song of the government, particularly with the outbreak of COVID-19.
Yes.
And if you look at an economy that is down by 60%, of course, it's a hard one.
Right.
So the government says, yes, that they did not have any other choice than to take the hard decision. Like the SGF did say, it was a decision that was even very difficult for the government to take.
Okay.
Knowing fully well it's
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we've got to go on break now. Very difficult for government, the decision to take, but it's also very difficult for the citizenry. We'll go on break now. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and we'll continue on this theme. Okay, welcome back, and we took a little bit of a time, so sorry about that. We were trying to get hold of Comrade Agnes Funmi Sesi, NLC chair in Lagos State, one of the labor leaders that we've been speaking with, and certainly she ended the week with us on our program on Friday, and this is a different day. We wanted to get her perspective as well. But here we are. We have what we have, and we'll be taking your calls now. Because everybody has sort of dodged that particular bullet, if that's the way to put it, of a protest, a nationwide protest today that would have involved everybody. As you saw in that that story that we sort of led with, even though it was an old story, it's a bit stale, but still, you saw the extent that was intended. But all of that has now been averted for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I wonder if that's going to be enough, because in those 2 weeks, they're going to be studying all sorts of things. Labour is going to be making, the government is going to be making another attempt to, should I say another attempt, or an attempt to, carry Labour along, explain it to Labour, rationalize it is the word, rationalize is the word, and see what Labour thinks. The idea, of course, is that Labour will see, the perspective from government is that Labour will see that, as government has been saying, there was no option. You would have heard, no doubt, government saying that there simply are no more funds. There are no more funds to continue with the subsidy. But here we are. The tariff per hour, per kilowatt hour has doubled from people paying 30 to people paying 60. As for the fuel one, that one was just, okay, it was, it didn't double. So here we are. There are facts all over the place, but no doubt Labour is seeing it that there is no equity anywhere to be found. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir, Yuri.
Good morning.
So, Yuri, it's not a question of 2 weeks. If you really listen, like I said last week, the Labour coming said they will start strike today. At the end of the day, they cancel 3 a.m. It's not healthy.
They suspended.
Because if Labour has taken action within 48 hours when that pronouncement was made, all this issue will not come. Now, Mr. Yuri, let's face reality. Last week, I bought 2,000 naira units. And that 2,000 naira unit before used to be 1,000. And before I bought that, they gave me 40 digits to load first. After loading the 40 digits, then before I load the case. Now tell me, many Nigerians have done that. Many Nigerians. Are the government telling us with the labor that we will reverse back to the former digits? That is the question.
Yes. Well, to answer that question, to answer that question quickly, Mazi, in all of the resolution that sort of came out, the discos are to suspend for a fortnight this new tariff. How they're going to go about that is anyone's guess. But quickly in Nigeria, as soon as they increase the price of anything.
Let me say, just before I drop, let me tell you one thing. The prices of goods in the market are that is just at cutthroat prices. There is no place you go to the market in Nigeria that will see a bag of foreign rice less than 30,000 naira, and a bag of Nigerian rice less than 22,000 naira.
Okay.
Now tell me, the traders themselves bought those things at that rate. Now what are they doing? Are they going to revert to go back to where they bought these things based on the current price or what?
Okay.
It's not possible. But the thing is that the federal government and the labor, if the government says let them combat it, Nigeria is celebrating 60 years in 3 days' time. Is that what we are going to face? Look, frustration, depression are being written on people's faces. And very soon I'll tell children to go back to school by next month. What are the parents going to do? And salary is still, up to 20 states are not paying that 30,000 naira. What do we do? Look, the frustration is too much.
All right.
They say pray. We have been praying. But they should know that vanity upon vanity, according to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. If you go down to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, it said, well, no matter what, they stand for bad, they stand to bad, they say that. But nobody goes to the grave without it. Government should go back to the basics. The rich should help the masses. The top actually should help. It is too much. People are suffering. There should be leverage for people not to go to early grave.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi. Interestingly, where you just landed is where Labour also is, although government is saying that we need to see reason. Comrade Sesi, we've got Comrade Agnes Fumi Sesi now. Good morning, Comrade Sesi.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you very much. Here we are. Give me your thoughts. Give me your feelings on this whole matter about the suspension of the strike, so that they can make, if you want, a more effective presentation or case of the facts to labor, because that's what it's all about.
Thank you very much. If we have to look at my face, if people are looking at my face, they will see that the disappointment is also written in my face, and they will see that the stress is also written in my own face as well. For about a week now, most especially in Lagos State, I've done the needful as the chairman of NLC. We have contacted all our allies and the other labor center, TUC. We were together, we mobilized, we've done all the needful, we were ready. And we were ready to take the federal government headlong on this issue, as to ensure that Nigerians, they have freedom in this aspect of anti-labor policies that the federal government is churning out.
Is the situation a positive development? Comrade Sesi, is it a positive development?
To me, personally, it's not a positive development. It's my own personal view.
Is that because you don't trust?
If the government could wait until the last minute before they are now calling for meetings to see how they can resolve, it means that this government is irresponsible. I'm not mincing my word in saying this. Government of countries where they know that is a democratic setting, they're supposed to take the people into consideration.
But
we're supposed to dialogue, we're supposed to negotiate.
But comrade, there is something of a ceasefire now, so that these kind of remarks, they're not really reflecting that there's a mutually agreed ceasefire while we look at this whole matter again, because it's entirely conceivable, is it not, that a government could satisfy labor's aspirations.
Mr. Yori, you will see that this ceasefire is like a ceasefire of the graveyard. It's like a ceasefire gotten from the workers' union under duress. I am so sure that our leaders, they did not agree into 2 weeks suspension easily. It must have been under duress.
Let me,
honestly speaking.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon for interrupting you, comrade. A caller just came in, so please stay with us while we take the caller. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. And then good morning to your comrade in the studio. You see, usually, I always say this. We that die fans of this government, especially in support of Mr. President, I can tell you for free, Mr. Yori, we are not really happy. Because I've been saying this, it is difficult for us to protect or to even defend this government when we go out. Why am I saying that? Usually, this government can just come in one night and then increase of the petroleum price and then increase of bill of NEPA. You see, this is a private company. For example, let me say this as an example. As a power holding company, it is a private company. And then before you can even increase the power supply, the tariff, you have to supply the individual house, the meter. Imagine in a site when they don't
That's
have
also part of what they're
transformer.
going to be. Hello, sir. That's also part, I'm sure you know that. That's also part of what they're going to be looking at, looking into. The deficit of 6 million meters.
Failure to deploy meter, they should never increase the tariff because it is absurd.
Okay.
It is shortage of Nigerian citizens.
Okay.
How much is the price of the rice in the market today? Security?
Okay.
I don't know how to defend this government anymore because how much is the price of the rice? Even the local rice, as I said earlier in last week, they have already formed cabal. They withheld all the local rice in order for the rice to start in the market. But how much is the foreign rice?
Okay.
The local rice that
Mr.
we are
Yakubu.
producing in this country, we are getting it up to 25,000.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Yakub. Comrade Sesi, there's a matter of 6 million, I believe, meters. Comrade Sesi, you still with us?
Yes, please.
6 million meters deficit or whatever. And so Labour is now going to have the opportunity, as it were, to, alongside government, investigate and recommend to government what we can do with that. Tell me, because in the past, I was the person reminding you that there's a ceasefire now between Labour and government. But in the past, it has been said that Labour has said that it doesn't feel comfortable that it can depend entirely on what government says it will do. Well, let's be sort of neutral for now. This whole matter about now you will jointly investigate 6 million meters that belong in Nigerians' homes and the problems, and will be advising government. Do you think that's positive? That's something of a move forward?
Well, we have seen that every policy of Nigerian federal government is a policy that you have to start ensuring that the policy did not somersault. All we have always is a policy somersault. We always have a policy somersault. So the Labour, now that the federal government has said that we will have to sit down and look at every issue that we have raised.
Yeah.
It's not only the issue of the 6,000 meters. We're also going to look at the issue of this distribution.
Yeah.
Because the government they said they sold the part of the distribution to the discos for 400 billion.
But you have only 2 weeks. You have only 2 weeks. You have only 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yes, just in 2 weeks.
I hope it can be done.
Government is now spending 1.5 trillion.
Okay, one moment, Madam Sesi. Madam Sesi, one moment. Good morning, Mr. Bani.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Bani.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so much. I was wondering whether we need a special phone to be able to reach you, but thank God I'm able to reach you all the same.
Okay. And please, let other people thinking like that know it.
Your guest.
Yeah.
But my problem is, with due respect, I may have a little respect or confidence in what the NLC chairman for Lagos State is saying, but truly I do is representing the workers.
I have my reasons for saying so.
Sorry, it dropped out. What did you say after you said you might have your respect for what Ceci is saying? What did you say after that?
Yes, I have a level of confidence for what she is saying, for her opinion. You can see from her face, from her
countenance,
her face, that she really means well, and she's under pains defending or fighting for workers. But truly speaking, I don't think that's the same at the level of.
Oh dear. Okay.
Even though they have been given 2 weeks to agree to 2 weeks delay, I can tell you that 2 weeks, nothing very tangible will come out of it.
Yeah.
A government that is sincere in either the increase of petroleum prices or removal of subsidy will first and foremost put down palliatives to cushion the effect of such removal. Secondly, it is only in Nigeria that I've heard that for anyone who was affected by COVID-19 lockdown or the pandemic, everything the government has introduced as palliative has always been loans. So the question is, for someone whose business has been off for 3 months, what time will this person be able to work to recoup the money and pay loans? Whereas other countries are giving, our government is introducing loans. And these loans, more than I know, usually people will go through the whole hog to apply, only to come and wait for another month to be able to access it. And when you access loans, it is loan, not a grant. It definitely means you will need to pay. So where is the palliative there?
Indeed.
So thirdly, I am looking at it that number one, the government said it will make efforts to, to make it to ensure that our refineries are working. We had this story. One of the cardinal campaign promises of this government was to ensure that our refineries are back on stream 1 year after they took over government. See, today this is going to the 6th year. Our refineries are not productive.
Thank you, Mr. Obani. I'm going to have to interrupt you now so that other people might be able to get in. Thank you very much for calling in. And Comrade Ceci, that goes back to another point of Labour's, that the whole, even if it was a good case, if governments was a good case, which Labour is contesting, then the timing is absolutely wrong.
That's right. The timing is wrong. And the Nigerians are feeling the pain. It's Nigerians, it's the poor masses that are bearing the brunt of all these anti-people's policies. We are in democratic setting.
But remember that government says they have no option. Remember, government claims to have no option whatsoever. They want to come out
with any policy. This policy is a policy somersault because government has done it in a period in which the people are just coming out of this pandemic. So many jobs are lost. So many businesses have gone. So many people are not able to pay their debts. And so many homes have been in disarray. Why will government come out? So many countries are giving palliative, even in Africa.
Comrade
Why will
Ceci,
government come out with this hardship?
Comrade Ceci, wait, you must remember, Madam Comrade, you must remember that you are part of this agreement. So you actually have to own it. You are NLC. And you are part of this agreement, because the way you're sounding, it doesn't look like we've actually reached a milestone of suspension for the next 14 days. It's like
our leadership have taken the decision. They have taken the decision with federal government, in which I am being bound by that agreement.
So if it was politics, you have to be a good party woman.
Let's hope that government will be responsive and will be responsible for once. Let us hope that Nigerians, they will not have to, have some kind of regrets that the Labour did not provide the kind of leadership they are expecting from us.
Madam
we are all in it together. For 2 weeks,
let's not prejudge the issue. Let's not prejudge it. Good morning, Prince, calling in from the UK.
Good morning, Uncle Yemi.
Good morning, sir. Yori?
I will thank God for your life and for the good work you're doing there.
You're too kind, sir. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you making our day. let me just chip in something. I think our country, Nigeria, our leaders, they are going in the wrong direction. Is the one that wears the shoe that nowhere sends him or her. The problem we have in Nigeria is the poor masses that are suffering the whole of this thing that is happening. The people in the government that is imposing all this, they don't pay any funding for fuel. They don't pay for fuel. They don't pay for electricity. Everything that they use is free. Our tax money fuels their car. Our tax money pays for the electricity bill. So they are not suffering from all these things. It's the poor people in the streets of Nigeria that is suffering.
But Prince, the bottom line, sir, from government is that there simply isn't any money to do the populist thing, which is leave the subsidy in place. That's government's line. I think I've lost Prince. I'm sorry if I lost you, but I wanted to point out that whereas we understand we understand what Prince was saying. In fact, there are facts all over the place. It's just that some might say that there is no equity anywhere. Facts, yes. Equity, well, we're still looking along the lines of what Prince was saying.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, what I'm saying, the point I'm making is because of this COVID-19, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, his yearly income dropped from £350,000 to £150,000 per annum.
Okay.
We have a lot of them in the House of Senate and the House of Representatives.
I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt you, Prince, because we've run out of time, but I do like the point that you've just brought up, that the leadership in other parts, they also, as it were, bearing the load. Comrade Sesi,
yes, please.
I want to thank you very much. Prince in the UK just gave us an example. He said something about their leader over there taking a hit of 50%, no less, in his whatever his take-home pay, whatever the details are. But the point he was making is that everybody seems to be in it together in some areas. The sense is that in Nigeria, it's not like that. Prince made that case. But I was saying to you, madam, that you have to own it because as we go out, will you sort of give it a chance and let's see how it goes? In closing.
Well, Mr. Yori.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, 2 weeks is just around the corner.
Yeah.
From all the centers of NLC, we will also give our feedback of the feelings of Nigeria to our leadership.
Okay.
So that they should know that within that 2 weeks, much is expected from them.
Okay.
To ensure that this government, they do the needful within the next 2 weeks. So that the disappointment will not be something that Nigerians will be thinking that is expected of the labor.
We got to leave it there, Comrade Sesi. Thank you very much once more for coming on the program this morning. Comrade Agnes Fumi Sesi, NLC Chair, Lagos State Council. And also our thanks to Joke Adisa, who started the program with us. So that's the program today. As always, we always say COVID-19 is still out there. Do everything you can to stay safe. See you tomorrow, God willing. I'm Yori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.